I will now call the Infrastructure and Community Investment Committee meeting to order. It is 6:19 on January 29th. This meeting is being held in person electronically in accordance with the Municipal Act. There are no public meetings tonight, no open delegations, no presentations by staff, no standing items, no deferred items. There are 2 advisory committee reports to be received. 6.1 is the report of the Arts Advisory Committee dated November 26, 2024. It is the report of the Arts Advisory Committee dated November 26 be received. All those in favor? And it passes. 6.2, report of the Active Transportation and Sustainability Advisory Committee dated January 13th, 2025, dated be received. And it also passes. And finally, moving on to agenda item number 7, reports to committee. We've got one report, 7.1. It's a funding request for Bayview Park Reservoir decommissioning and removal in Ward 2. And it reads that a new capital project be approved to decommission the Bayview Park Reservoir and complete the removal of its associated booster pumping station at Sam Kinsella Park with a budget of $2,565,000 to be funded 100% from the Water Capital Reserve, subject to the return of $2,565,000 from other Water Capital Reserve funded projects in the 2025 Capital Status Report. Can I? Yes.
May I ask a question?
You may.
I think this is for the engineers. Is there a plan for the park after it's done? Do we have a design for what's done, what it looks like after the reservoir is removed?
Through you, Chair Hamilton, to Councillor Repa. At this point, we don't. As part of the assignment, we will decommission the reservoir and the pump station and try and landscape it in such a way that it can be used, but we don't have a concept for what it would look like afterwards.
Okay. And I'm not proposing to make an amendment to the motion, but it seems to me that partway through this process that we should probably have a plan for that park, and then at least we can, we can use it, put back into something that would be usable, and it's part of our waterfront, so it's pretty important.
Yeah, through you, Chair Hamilton, to Councillor Repa, we would leave it in such a state that it could be used by the public.
Okay, I guess there's a lot of interpretations to that. So I would hope that somewhere through the process that we would get a plan that would show us what is to be done with the park after the reservoir is removed.
Are there any other questions? Mayor Nettle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I take up 2 seats, I'm obviously a big fella here. Just wanted to pass along. We have had some requests coming forward on what to do there in a more broad way than just where we have work that we have to do. And I believe CEO Prowse has had some conversing with the folks over, or some of the folks over at Lack House. I've had a meeting with somebody who had some ideas for there as well. And I think actually one member of the community took it upon themselves out of their own pocket to look at some actual designs for what could be there as well. And that individual lives in that Lack House area. And I'm just bringing that all because it happens to be converging at once. It wasn't planned out that way. And I think that, yes, you're right, Councillor Utma, and I think it's a little too early for us to be able to go this, or even, I haven't seen any of the plans myself. The other piece I think that's tricky, and I say tricky, I think that we need to be respectful of, is the naming of that park after Sam, and what it meant to and means to individuals, specifically those who are across the street at I always forget the name of the buildings, but the OG Bayshore, thank you. There is, there's an affinity for that and what it is and what was designed there that has caused some issues in the past when there's been looks at other uses on site. And so I think it's a careful walk on this one, not a run. And really, I'd like it to be, and we're talking about setting up a meeting soon, so if you'd like to be involved, just send an email over so that my staff knows to include you. But we'd like to set up something with those, the Bayshore, Lac House, and some of the other stakeholders in the area to say, what is acceptable? Like, what do you see as a vision piece? And then the community at large as well, because the reality is it's a waterfront park and the whole community has the potential to use it if we do it right.
Do you have any follow-up comments, Councillor?
Yeah, I guess I agree 100% with the mayor. I mean, it's a very, it's a very high value property, and a lot of people are very concerned about what happens to it. And after the reservoir is gone, I'm concerned that it'll be kind of a muddy field and we won't do anything with it. And I want to see where that goes. So if we can have some park planning happening during the course, and I agree with you that we definitely need the public input. That's what I'd like to see.
I tend to agree as well, and I just wonder, do we need anything within this moving forward? Do we have to look at revising it just to ensure that this work doesn't get lost? Another work's going to happen, but is there anything to go in here to say, under the assumption that there will be investigations forthcoming to look at appropriate use of the park space? So I don't know if that needs to go in here, or if that's just something staff.
Through you, Chair Hamilton, to members of committee, my recollection of the report is this is sort of the cheap and cheerful option on what to do with a safety issue along the waterfront. And unless Bally gives me the high sign, I think at the end of the day, what you end up with is a decommissioned facility and a safe park. It doesn't give you amenity or lifestyle or any of the features that Mayor Nuttall spoke to. So either attached to this motion, some additional direction, or certainly if the mayor is consulting, I would expect that we will come back and seek additional direction and frankly, additional funds to do something more significant with that park. But what's in front of you now is not that. So there is some work to do, certainly in remediating just the reservoir piece. But if council wants to have a grander vision, which certainly I would be supportive of, some additional direction either now or at a later point would be appropriate, but I do think you have a little bit of time. So should the opportunity not be taken tonight, I don't think it's an opportunity lost.
Yeah, I would tend to agree, but if you want to follow up, if you have any thoughts, if you want to change tonight, or if you want to move forward with tonight, but making sure that we have conversations maybe even between now and general committee to say, do we actually have to add anything on here to make sure we give the appropriate direction, that conversations continue, investigations are explored at a high level. Maybe we can look at including the general committee, or just keep an eye on it and make sure conversations happen and then bring it back once we actually have some substance or some ideas of what we would want done there.
Yeah, I think, not tonight. I think I haven't really thought it through in terms of putting forward an amendment, but maybe at general committee we can come up with an amendment that'll work.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And it passes. Moving into agenda item number 8, items for discussion, and there are none, so we will adjourn. This concludes the Infrastructure and Community Investment Committee meeting. The council meeting will begin at 7 p.m. The meeting is adjourned.